Hey, Raiders Nation. Michael here in charge of Raiders Report, and today the program is on fire. Have you ever imagined Russell Wilson wearing the silver and black, leading our offense and bringing the experience that was missing? Well, it seems that this idea, which previously seemed absurd, is starting to take shape. We have hot information about a possible reunion between Wilson and Pete Carroll, now in charge of the Raiders. And it doesn't stop there. Meanwhile, we have news that will make any Raiders fans' day. The Chiefs, our beloved rivals, just received a blow like that. Justice in the NFL may finally be coming our way, and I'll explain why. So leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and hold on tight because today's program promises to be a blast. Come with me because we're going to break it all down in detail, and I guarantee you, you won't want to miss a single second. Now let's get right to it, nation. A report from Ian Rappaport, echoed by Jeff Howe of The Athletic, has suggested that Russell Wilson's name is being seriously floated behind the scenes at the Las Vegas Raiders. And it's not just speculation. There's a direct connection to Pete Carroll, the man who managed Wilson at the height of his career in Seattle. Pete Carroll arrived at the Raiders as head coach and brought with him expectations of big changes. If there's anyone who knows Russell well and knows how to get the best out of him, it's Carroll. And that raises the question, are we on the verge of seeing this partnership reborn, this time in Las Vegas? If that happens, the implications could be huge. A quarterback with Wilson's experience could not only lead the offense, but also serve as a mentor to the franchise's next QB. The idea of using Russell as a bridge quarterback is starting to gain traction. What do you think? Comment below. Pete Carroll is not only a skilled coach, he is a master at developing quarterbacks. He was the one who helped Russell Wilson become one of the best QBs in the league during his time with the Seahawks. The connection between the two is undeniable, and the possibility of bringing that chemistry to the Raiders is intriguing, to say the least. Additionally, Carroll has an impressive track record of building competitive teams. He knows how to work with young talent and veterans to create a cohesive team. If that mindset is applied to the Raiders, with Wilson as the linchpin of that transition, we could be on the cusp of something special. And here's the interesting thing. Carroll has said in interviews that he believes in the potential to build winning teams from scratch. That means he could be thinking about shaping the Raiders for the future, starting with Wilson's experience in grooming the franchise's next great QB. Does he have a strategic plan behind all of this? The idea of using Russell Wilson as a bridge quarterback is starting to make sense, nation. If we look at recent examples, like the Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes or even the Packers with Aaron Rodgers, we can see how this strategy can work. Giving a young QB time to develop while learning from a seasoned veteran is a smart move. Wilson has the ideal profile for this. He is not only a skilled player, but also a leader on and off the field. His work ethic and attention to detail could be the perfect model for a young talent like Shedeur Sanders or Jalen Milroe, who are both being touted as potential future Raiders QBs. And of course, this approach gives the Raiders something they've lacked in recent years: stability. It's not just about winning now, but about building a solid foundation for the future. If Wilson accepts this role, we could be taking the first step toward a new era of success. Now, the big question dividing Raiders Nation: do you want Russell Wilson at the helm? We know he's not a unanimous choice, but we also can't ignore what he brings to the table. Max Crosby, for example, has already stated that Wilson is one of the toughest quarterbacks to play against, and that says a lot about his quality. On the other hand, some say bringing in Wilson could be a risk, especially considering his inconsistent last season. Does he still have the gas in the tank to lead a team like the Raiders that desperately needs results? The discussion is open, and I want to know your opinion. Comment here, yes or no for Russell Wilson to the Raiders. There's no point in sitting on the fence, okay? Let's heat up this debate because the nation deserves to be heard. When we talk about Russell Wilson, we also need to talk about numbers. A 3-year contract worth around $75 million with 2 years guaranteed. Seems reasonable given the current situation. It's a big investment, but it could be worth it if he takes on the role of mentor to the next QB. Wilson has shown in the past that he is willing to play for smaller contracts to help the team. That's what he did in Pittsburgh when he accepted the veterans minimum. Would he be willing to do something similar for the Raiders, focusing more on his legacy than the money? And of course, if the deal is structured right, the Raiders can minimize financial risk while still making the most of his experience. The question is Wilson willing to embrace this transitional role? That could make or break the success of this plan. Do you like the format so far? I can continue structuring the other scenes like this. Hang in there, nation, because what comes now is going to make any Raiders fan's heart skip a beat. While we discuss the possible arrival of Russell Wilson, our rivals, the Kansas City Chiefs, have just received news that could change the game. Literally. Are you tired of the Chiefs getting the short end of the stick due to questionable refereeing decisions? Well, it looks like the NFL is finally listening to our complaints. According to Adam Schefter, major changes are being discussed to end the blatant favoritism that Mahomes and company receive. But wait, there's more. The impact of these potential changes could be felt in the upcoming games. And of course, we'll analyze what this means for the Raiders and their AFC West campaign. Let's dive into this story. Back to the subject of quarterbacks, Russell Wilson's name isn't the only one on the radar. In addition to him, we have young talents like Shedeur Sanders and Jalen Milroe who are attracting the attention of scouts. Pete Carroll, with his experience, may be thinking about shaping the Raiders' future around one of these names. Shedeur Sanders, for example, has been a production machine in college. With a coach like Carroll and a mentor like Wilson, he could develop quickly and take over the team when the time is right. Jalen Milroe brings a fearsome combination of physical strength and mobility, something Carroll knows how to exploit. What we do know is that the Raiders are leaving no stone unturned in their search for a quarterback who can lead the team for years to come. What about you, Nation? Do you have a favorite? Which of these names would you like to see wearing the silver and black? Let me know in the comments. And now, Nation, let's talk about our favorite rivals, the Chiefs. Finally, the NFL is moving to correct the injustices that have favored Kansas City in recent years. According to Adam Schefter, the league is discussing expanding play review to include situations like quarterback slips, something that often benefits Mahomes. For those who don't know, in the last 8 playoff games alone, the Chiefs have had 0 roughing the passer penalties against them, while their opponents have accumulated 6. This is ridiculous and is distorting the competitiveness of the games. It seems that the NFL is finally recognizing this disparity. If these changes are implemented, the impact could be huge. Imagine a game where Mahomes no longer has this overzealous protection from the referees. It would level the playing field and give teams like the Raiders a fair chance to compete. It's time for justice to be served. Now, if you think we're exaggerating, just look at these numbers. During the Chiefs' playoff winning streak, their foul statistics are absurdly lopsided. In addition to the 6 roughing the passer calls against opponents, we had 4 unnecessary roughness calls, and against the Chiefs, only 1. This is even more evident when we look at recent games. In the last matchup with the Texans, a game that was evenly matched, a lack of roughing, the passer completely changed the pace of the game. And the worst part is that this is not new, it is standard. The NFL needs to fix this, and fast. If we want a fair and competitive league, we can't continue with this kind of favoritism. That's why this news of rule changes is so important, and why we as a nation need to keep pushing for fairness on the field. What does this mean for the future? If the NFL does implement these changes, the Chiefs will feel the difference, big time. They are used to getting favorable calls in decisive moments, and this could completely change the dynamics of games. Additionally, this is an opportunity for the Raiders to take advantage of a more level playing field. With the new rules, our chances of going head-to-head with Kansas City increase considerably. This is the beginning of a scenario where skill and strategy really count without outside interference. And you know what's best? This could start to happen in the next games. So, Nation, get ready, because the rivalry is going to get even fiercer, and this time, justice could be on our side. For those who are still not convinced, let's remember some moments that define the blatant favoritism that the Chiefs receive. Who here doesn't remember Max Crosby being penalized for a clean sack on Mahomes? Meanwhile, other QBs like Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson suffer absurd hits without any protection. And it's not just against Max. In recent games, we've seen several instances where non-existent fouls were called in favor of the Chiefs, completely changing the course of the game. This goes far beyond a misinterpretation by the referees. It's something that needs to be addressed urgently. What we're asking for here is not special treatment for the Raiders. We just want the rules to be applied fairly, without favoritism. The NFL owes it to us, the passionate fans who want to see a fair and exciting game. Today is Chiefs vs. Bills Day, and all eyes will be on the referees' decisions. Will the pressure from the media and fans make a difference? Will we finally see a game where Mahomes doesn't be treated as untouchable? This is the perfect opportunity for the NFL to show that it is willing to change. With the attention of millions of fans and the impact of the latest news, referees will be under a magnifying glass. Any error can generate an avalanche of criticism. And for us Raiders fans, of course, the best case scenario would be a Chiefs loss. We will keep an eye on every play and every decision. Today, more than ever, justice must prevail. Now, nation, I want to hear from you. What do you think of these changes the NFL is proposing? Will this really bring balance to the games? And what are your expectations for tonight's game between the Chiefs and Bills? Leave your opinion here in the comments. Let's fill this section with photo favoritismo to show that the Raiders nation is aware and demanding justice. This is the time to make our voices heard. Oh, and if you haven't left a like yet, take the opportunity to give us a thumbs up. It doesn't cost anything, and it really helps to strengthen our channel. That's it, folks. Another episode of Raiders Report to tell you. Today, we talked about everything. Possible changes in command with Russell Wilson, Pete Carroll's strategies, and of course, that taste of justice against the Chiefs. Raider Nation, what is going on? Big news just dropped, and I've got to ask, did the Raiders just make the boldest move of the offseason? Pete Carroll, the legendary Super Bowl winning coach, is officially our new head coach, but not everyone's celebrating. Some are saying this is a disaster waiting to happen. What's the real deal here? Think about it. Carroll, at 73, is stepping into the silver and black with a history as one of the greatest leaders in NFL history. But let's not ignore the elephant in the room. Critics are already throwing shade, calling this a step backward. So what's the truth? Is Carroll here to take us to the promised land, or did the Raiders fumble this decision? Stick with me, Raider Nation, because we're breaking this all down. From the media's fiery comments to Carroll's massive potential to lead this squad, I'm laying it all out. And trust me, you'll want to hear every bit of it. Let's rewind the clock a bit. The Raiders just hit the reset button. New GM, new coach, new direction. And who did they bring in to steer the ship? Pete Carroll. We're talking about the man who built the Seahawks dynasty, dominated the NFC, and even brought home a Lombardi trophy. Sounds good, right? But here's where things get messy. Carroll isn't just a seasoned veteran, he's the oldest coach in the NFL. When the season kicks off, he'll be 73. That's led to a ton of skepticism from the media and even some of our fans. People are questioning if he still has what it takes to deal with the intensity of the modern NFL. The big question is this: is Carroll's experience enough to outweigh his age? Raider Nation, we need to talk about this because this decision will define the future of our team. You know the media couldn't stay quiet on this one. On The Odd Couple, analysts Kelvin Washington and Rob Parker went off. Parker straight up said, "The Raiders just hired a dinosaur. Fred Flintstone got hired with the Raiders." That's cold, right? But Parker didn't stop there. He compared hiring Carroll to putting on an old pair of slippers, comfortable but full of holes. His argument, the Raiders are stuck in the past instead of looking to the future. Ouch. Those are some harsh words even for the Raiders. What do you think, Raider Nation? Is the media being too harsh, or do they have a point? Drop your thoughts in the comments because this debate is just heating up. Let's break this criticism down. Sure, Carroll is older, but isn't experience exactly what this team needs? We've seen what happens when inexperienced coaches fold under pressure. Pete Carroll? He's been there, done that, and has the Super Bowl ring to prove it. Plus, Carroll is known for building a winning culture. Remember the Legion of Boom? That wasn't just luck, it was strategy, leadership, and a whole lot of grit. If Carroll can bring even a piece of that magic to the Raiders, this could be a game changer. So why all the hate, Raider Nation? Do you think this is just the media being the media, or is there something we're missing? Let me know what's on your mind. Now let's flip the script. Pete Carroll might be 73, but this man isn't slowing down. Reports say he's in great shape, full of energy, and ready to tackle this challenge head on. Age is just a number, right? And let's not forget his track record. Carroll has faced adversity before and always finds a way to bounce back. He's the type of coach who can take a struggling team and turn it into a contender. Could the Raiders be his next big success story? This move is risky, no doubt about it. But sometimes you need to take risks to see rewards. Raider Nation, do you believe Carroll is the guy to take us to the next level? Let's tackle the age argument head on. Sure, Pete Carroll will be the oldest head coach in the NFL at 73. But let me ask you this. Does age really matter if the fire is still burning? Look at Bill Belichick still grinding at 72. Coaching is about strategy, leadership, and the ability to inspire a team. Not how many candles are on your birthday cake. Reports say Carroll is in phenomenal shape, running drills like he's still in his 50s. And let's not forget, he's got decades of experience under his belt. If anything, his age brings wisdom, something this Raiders franchise could desperately use after a chaotic season. So, Raider Nation, what do you think? Is Carroll too old for this job, or is this narrative just the media looking for something to complain about? Sound off below, I want to hear your take. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, the Raiders roster. It's no secret we've got some serious gaps. Even the best coach in the league can't win games without the right players. So how much can Carroll really do with the team we've got right now? Our offensive line, inconsistent. Defense, struggled big time last season, and don't even get me started on the quarterback situation. Can Jimmy Garoppolo stay healthy? These are big questions Carroll will need to address if he wants to turn this team around. But here's the thing, Carroll is no stranger to rebuilding projects. He turned a struggling Seahawks team into a dynasty. Could he work the same magic here in Vegas? Let me know if you think our current roster is ready for the challenge. Now let's look at the glass half full. The Raiders didn't just hire Pete Carroll for his name. They hired him for his experience and proven ability to create a winning culture. This isn't just a job for Carroll, it's a legacy move. What if he's here to prove everyone wrong one last time? Think about it. Carroll thrives in situations where people doubt him. Back when he took over the Seahawks, no one thought they'd become a force in the NFC. Fast forward a few years, and they were Super Bowl champs. Could history repeat itself in Las Vegas? So, Raider Nation, are we being too quick to judge this move? Could Carroll be exactly what we need to silence the doubters? Let me know in the comments. I'm dying to hear what you think. Let's fast forward to year 2 under Pete Carroll. Imagine this. He's had a full season to assess the team, tweak the roster, and instill his winning mentality. The Raiders enter 2026 with a renewed sense of purpose, and suddenly the playoffs don't seem so far-fetched. Sure, the first season might be rough. Rebuilding takes time, but Carroll has a knack for turning things around in his second year. Just look at what he did with the Seahawks. They went from a 7-9 team to NFC champs in just 2 seasons. Raider Nation, can you picture it? Year 2 under Carroll, Allegiant Stadium rocking, and the Raiders finally back in the hunt. Is it possible, or am I dreaming? Let me know if you're on board with this vision. Let's take a moment to compare Pete Carroll to our previous head coach, Antonio Pierce. Now, Pierce brought the passion, we all saw it. But when it came to handling high-pressure situations, he struggled. And that's where Carroll's experience shines. He's been in the biggest games, made the toughest calls, and come out on top. Remember the Super Bowl XL9 loss? Sure, it stung, but Carroll didn't let that define him. He kept pushing, kept building. That resilience is what sets him apart. Raider Nation, do you think that kind of mental toughness is what we've been missing? Here's the bottom line. While Pierce was learning on the job, Carroll's already mastered it. But can he bring that mastery to Vegas? That's the million-dollar question. Let's talk about leadership, Raider Nation. Pete Carroll isn't your typical head coach. This guy's energy is infectious. Whether it's running drills with the players or hyping them up on the sidelines, Carroll knows how to connect with his team. That kind of energy can be a game changer for a franchise like the Raiders. But it's not just about the hype. Carroll is also a master motivator. He's known for creating a culture where players believe in themselves and each other. Remember the Seahawks? They weren't just a team, they were a family. If Carroll can bring that same vibe to Las Vegas, it could transform the locker room dynamic. So, Raider Nation, do you think this kind of leadership is what we need to get back to our winning ways? Or is this energy not enough to fix the deeper issues? Let me know what you think. Here's the reality. Pete Carroll is stepping into one of the most high-pressure jobs in the NFL. The Raiders are hungry for success, and the fans? We've been waiting far too long for a deep playoff run. Carroll doesn't just need to win games, he needs to bring back the pride of Raider Nation. Critics are already predicting failure, but let's not forget, pressure creates diamonds. Carroll thrives in these kinds of environments. If anyone can handle the heat of Vegas, it's him. The question is, can the players step up to match his level of intensity? Raider Nation, do you think Carroll can handle the spotlight and deliver under this kind of pressure? Drop your thoughts in the comments. This one's huge. All right, let's shift gears to the players. Carroll might be the captain of the ship, but let's not forget, the crew matters just as much. If the Raiders want to succeed, it's on the players to step up and execute. That means no more excuses, no more missed opportunities. It's time to deliver. Guys like Max Crosby and Davante Adams are going to play a huge role in this new era. These are leaders on and off the field, and they need to set the tone for the rest of the team. Can they rally behind Carroll and bring out the best in their teammates? Raider Nation, who do you think will shine the brightest under Carroll's leadership? Will it be our veterans, or is it time for a young star to emerge? Let's hear your predictions. So what does success look like for Pete Carroll and the Raiders? Let's be real. It's not Super Bowl or bust in year one. Success means building a strong foundation, creating a winning culture, and showing progress on the field. Even an 8-9 season could be considered a step in the right direction if the team shows fight. But let's not rule out the playoffs just yet. The NFL is unpredictable, and with the right moves in free agency or the draft, the Raiders could surprise everyone. Carroll has done it before, why not again? Raider Nation, what's your benchmark for success this season? Is it wins, player development, or something else? Hit me up in the comments. I'm curious to see where your head's at. All right, Raider Nation, let's wrap this up. Pete Carroll's hiring has sparked debate across the NFL, and honestly, I get it. The man has a lot to prove, and so do the Raiders. But here's what I know. This franchise thrives when the odds are stacked against us. We're the underdogs, the fighters, the ones who never back down. Carroll isn't here to mess around. He's here to make a statement, to leave a legacy, and to bring Raider Nation back to where we belong, at the top. So, whether you're skeptical or all in, one thing's for sure. It's going to be one heck of a ride. Now, I want to hear from you. Are you backing Carroll or are you still on the fence? Drop your thoughts, predictions, and hot takes in the comments. And don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with every Raiders fan you know. Let's keep this conversation going, Raider Nation. Raiders Nation, let's dive into the potential impact Najee Harris could have on our offense. Since entering the NFL, Harris has proven himself to be a true workhorse, racking up yards and carrying defenses on his back. He's not just a power runner. His ability to catch passes out of the backfield also makes him a dual threat. This versatility could perfectly complement the style of play McDaniels is trying to implement. But will the Raiders' run game, with an offensive line still in progress, be able to maximize his skills? We know Harris is used to grinding it out, even with limited support in Pittsburgh. However, a successful run game depends on multiple factors, and the key will be investing in a solid offensive line to give Harris the space he needs to shine. And let's not forget, with Davante Adams drawing defensive attention, Harris would have more freedom to find gaps and break through. The combination of a ground threat like Harris and a receiving machine like Adams could completely transform our offense. But is it worth the cost? That's the decision the Raiders need to make. If you've been scrolling through social media, you know the Raider Nation is split on this potential signing. Some fans believe Harris is exactly what we need. A leader in the backfield, ready to carry the team in crucial games. Others think spending big on a running back, especially one averaging 3.9 yards per carry, is a risky move. The truth is, Raider Nation is tired of gambles that don't pay off. After a disappointing 2024 season, the pressure to nail roster decisions has never been higher. Signing Harris would be seen as a statement that the Raiders are ready to compete, but would this move satisfy everyone? So now I want to hear from you. If you were running the team, would you sign Najee Harris or look for another solution? Drop your thoughts in the comments and I'll read and respond to the best ones. Who knows, your idea might just become the topic of our next video. Now, let's consider some alternatives. The free agent market might be thin, but there are still a few interesting names out there. You know, players like Tony Pollard or even veterans like Kareem Hunt could be cheaper options for the Raiders. They may not have Harris's durability, but they bring unique skills to the table. Then there's the draft. This year's class features some exciting running back prospects who could make an immediate impact. Names like Tre'Veyon Henderson and Blake Corum come to mind. Young talents who might be exactly what the Raiders need to rejuvenate their ground game. And don't forget, rookies come with a much smaller price tag. So, Raider Nation, what do you think? Should we go all in on Harris, explore other free agents, or put our faith in the next generation of running backs? Let me know in the comments, because your input could help shape the conversation. All right, let's talk numbers. The Raiders have $94 million in cap space, the second highest in the league. That's a lot of money, but it's not unlimited. Signing Harris would likely require a significant chunk of that budget, leaving less room for other critical signings like bolstering the offensive line or strengthening the defense. Smart spending is crucial. The Raiders have several holes to fill, and allocating resources wisely will determine whether we can compete in the stacked AFC West. Is a high-priced running back the best way to spend our cap space, or should we prioritize other areas first? This is where the debate gets real, Raider Nation. Should the front office take a calculated risk on Harris, or spread the wealth to build a more balanced roster? Let's hear your take on this. To help us decide, let's look at some recent examples. Teams like the Giants and Cowboys invested heavily in star running backs, and while they saw short-term success, those contracts became burdensome in the long run. On the flip side, teams like the 49ers thrived by using a committee approach, relying on cheaper backs and focusing on the trenches. The lesson here is clear. Paying top dollar for a running back doesn't always guarantee success, but Harris is young and durable, which could make him an exception to the rule. Still, it's a gamble the Raiders have to weigh carefully. So, would you take the risk on a star like Harris or follow the 49ers blueprint? Let me know your thoughts because this debate isn't going away anytime soon. Here's the bigger picture, Raider Nation. What kind of team do we want to be in 2025? Every decision this offseason will shape our identity moving forward. Are we doubling down on a hard-nosed, run-first offense? Or are we evolving into a more dynamic, pass-heavy team built around Jimmy Garoppolo and Davante Adams? If Najee Harris is the centerpiece of the plan, the Raiders are making a bold statement. We're building around a ground game that controls the clock and wears defenses down. But if the team pivots to focus on the passing attack, it's clear that resources would be better spent elsewhere, like upgrading the O-line and bringing in more weapons for the aerial assault. This is more than just one signing. It's about defining the future of the silver and black. So, Raider Nation, what identity do you think we need to adopt to rise to the top of the AFC West? Hit the comments and let me know. Let's get real for a second. Every big move comes with risks and rewards, and Najee Harris is no exception. On one hand, you're getting a proven workhorse with a reputation for grinding out tough yards. On the other hand, his efficiency stats raise red flags, and a big contract could limit our ability to fix other roster weaknesses. The rewards? Harris could become the heart of the Raiders' offense, taking pressure off Garoppolo and opening up new opportunities for Davante Adams. The risks? A high-priced deal could backfire if Harris doesn't deliver or gets injured. And let's not forget, running back production tends to decline quickly after a few seasons of heavy usage. Raider Nation, this is where your voice matters most. Would you roll the dice on Harris, knowing the stakes, or would you play it safe and invest in other areas? Let's talk about it, because this decision could define our season. Let's get real for a second. Every big move comes with risks and rewards, and Najee Harris is no exception. On one hand, you're getting a proven workhorse with a reputation for grinding out tough yards. On the other hand, his efficiency stats raise red flags, and a big contract could limit our ability to fix other roster weaknesses. The rewards? Harris could become the heart of the Raiders' offense, taking pressure off Garoppolo and opening up new opportunities for Davante Adams. The risks? A high-priced deal could backfire if Harris doesn't deliver or gets injured. And let's not forget, running back production tends to decline quickly after a few seasons of heavy usage. Raider Nation, this is where your voice matters most. Would you roll the dice on Harris knowing the stakes, or would you play it safe and invest in other areas? Let's talk about it, because this decision could define our season. All right, let's see what the experts are saying. Tyler Brook from the 33rd team believes Harris could be a logical fit for the Raiders, citing our desperate need at the position and our ample cap space. And honestly, he's got a point. Harris fills a glaring need and brings star power to the offense. But not everyone agrees. Some analysts argue that signing a high-cost running back is a short-sighted move in today's NFL, where teams are finding success with cheaper committee-style approaches. Even Harris's stats, while solid, don't scream elite, which is why some believe the Raiders should focus on the draft instead. So, who's right? Are the Raiders better off taking a chance on Harris, or are analysts correct in suggesting a more frugal long-term strategy? Raider Nation, the floor is yours. Let's settle this debate together. All right, Raider Nation, we've broken it all down. Najee Harris's potential impact, the financial risks, and the alternatives. Now, it's your turn to weigh in. Should the Raiders go all in on Harris or look elsewhere to fix the backfield? Drop your thoughts in the comments below because your opinions shape this channel. Don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed today's breakdown, and make sure to subscribe for all the latest Raiders news, updates, and debates. Share this video with your fellow fans and let's keep the conversation going. Raider Nation, we'll see you in the next video. Stay passionate, stay loyal, and as always, go Raiders!